Mr. Sidibe was a man full of life, laughter, and dreams. He lived in Sierra Leone, West Africa, in a modest but cheerful home in the bustling capital city of Freetown. His life was rich in love and joy, blessed with his beautiful wife, Adama, and their 3 adorable children, 2 boys and a girl. Sidibe loved his family, and they loved him in return. By day, Sidibe worked as a front desk supervisor at a renowned 4-star hotel in Freetown. He was well regarded by his colleagues and appreciated by the guests for his charm and charisma. His life seemed perfect, or so it appeared, to those around him. But fate had a different plan. One fateful day, a European woman named Julia arrived at the hotel. She is elegant, wealthy, and had worldly traits that immediately caught Sidibe's attention. Julia had come to Sierra Leone for business, but she stayed longer than planned, charmed by the warmth of the country and its people. Among those who captured her interest was Mr. Sidibe. At first, their interactions were purely professional, but as days turned into weeks, a secret bond began to form. Julia admired Sidibe's ambition and his desire for a better life. She whispered promises of new beginnings, prosperity, and adventures far beyond the borders of Sierra Leone. Sidibe found himself captivated by her world of luxury and opportunity. Late at night, after his family had gone to bed, he would stay up thinking about the possibilities Julia presented. She promised to help him get a visa to the Netherlands, a place he had only dreamt of. "It's a land of endless opportunities," Julia told him. "You could build a fortune there." Though he had strong feelings of sympathy, Sidibe convinced himself that this was for the best. He would secure a better future for his family. This was his breakthrough. When the visa finally came through, Sidibe sat his wife down. "Adama," he began, trying to cover his excitement with a serious tone. "I have been given an opportunity to work abroad. It is a chance to provide a better life for all of us. I will send money home regularly, and soon I will bring you and the children to join me." Adama's eyes filled with both hope and sadness. "But how long will you be gone?" she asked softly. "Just for a few years," he replied, holding her hands. "Trust me, it is for the best." With a heavy heart, Adama supported his decision. She believed in her husband's dreams and prayed for his success. The children, too young to understand the full weight of his departure, hugged him tightly. "I will come back soon," he promised, kissing each child on the forehead. The flight to the Netherlands marked the beginning of a new chapter for Sidibe. Julia welcomed him with open arms, and together they built a life of luxury. Sidibe marveled at the modern cityscape, the bustling streets, and the wealth that seemed to flow endlessly around him. He quickly adapted to his new surroundings, living a life he had never imagined. Fine dining, expensive clothes, and nights spent in lively clubs. He felt invincible, lost in the illusion of success. Months passed, and the calls from Sierra Leone grew less frequent. At first, Sidibe would answer, promising to send money soon. But with each passing day, it became easier to ignore the calls. The voices of his family faded into the background as he embraced his new life with Julia. Back in Sierra Leone, Adama's life took a different turn. The money Sidibe had promised never arrived. The children fell ill, one after the other, weakened by malnutrition and the harsh realities of poverty. Adama sold everything she could to pay for medicine and food, but it was never enough. Desperate, she called her husband again and again, leaving tearful messages. "The children are sick," she pleaded. "We need your help." But there was no response. The first blow came when their eldest son, Ibrahim, succumbed to his illness. His fragile body could no longer endure the hardships. Adama wept bitterly, holding his lifeless body in her arms, unable to understand how everything had fallen apart so quickly. She called Sidibe, her voice trembling with grief. "Ibrahim is gone," she whispered. "Our son is gone." But Sidibe did not answer. 2 years later, tragedy struck again. Their second son, Idrissa, weakened by malnutrition, followed his brother into the afterlife. By now, Adama was a shadow of her former self, her heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. Still, she held on to a sliver of hope. Perhaps Sidibe would return. Perhaps he would hear her cries and come back to save what remained of their family. But that hope was short-lived. One rainy afternoon, her only remaining child, Fatmata, was involved in a tragic motorcycle accident. The streets were slippery and the bike swerved out of control. Fatmata never made it home. Adama stood at her daughter's graveside, numb with grief. She was now utterly alone. Meanwhile, Sidibe's life in the Netherlands took a negative direction. His relationship with Julia became tensed. The lavish lifestyle they once enjoyed began to crumble under the weight of their differences and increasing legal troubles. One day, the police knocked on his door. Sidibe was arrested and charged with fraud. He stood in court, bewildered and broken, as the judge sentenced him to 4 years' imprisonment. In the cold, gray walls of the prison, Sidibe had plenty of time to reflect on his choices. Memories of his family haunted him, their laughter, the warmth of their home, and the promises he had made but never kept. When he was finally released, he was deported back to Sierra Leone, stripped of everything he had gained. He returned home with nothing but the clothes on his back and the weight of his regrets. Freetown had changed in the years he had been gone, but not as much as his life had. With trembling steps, Sidibe made his way to the house where he had once lived. The sight of it brought back a flood of memories, both joyful and painful, but it was no longer his home. A neighbor recognized him and called out, "Sidibe? Is that you?" "Yes," he replied hesitantly. "I've come back." The neighbor's face darkened with pity. "You're too late," he said gently. "Adama has remarried. She couldn't wait any longer. She's with Mr. Kamara now, a wealthy businessman. She has a new life." Sidibe's heart sank. "What about my children?" he asked, though he already feared the answer. "They're gone," the neighbor said, shaking his head. "One by one, they passed away while you were gone." Sidibe fell to his knees, overwhelmed by grief. Tears streamed down his face as he realized the full extent of what he had lost. He wandered aimlessly through the streets of Freetown, a man broken by his own choices. He tried to visit Adama, but she refused to see him. She had rebuilt her life, found happiness again, and could not allow herself to be dragged back into the pain of the past. In the end, Mr. Sidibe became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of abandoning one's roots for fleeting pleasures. He spent his days in loneliness, haunted by the ghosts of his past, longing for a life he had once taken for granted. With no home, no family. Mr. Sidibe is now wandering around in the street of Freetown with a mental breakdown, begging for food remnants. The people of Freetown whispered his story, passing it down to future generations. "Never forget where you come from," they would say. "And never trade the ones you love for a dream built on deceit and selfishness. For in the end, you may find yourself with nothing but regrets." Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Lively African Stories for more inspiring stories that will captivate your soul. Please share your thoughts in the comment, and let's discuss below.